All right, welcome back to another Sledder Cast podcast. This is a first for us on the podcast. We are doing this remote. So we've got Andy Messner and myself. I'm in Southeast Idaho. Andy is up in Canada, specifically. Remind me the town, the city you're in.
Coquitlam, British Columbia, about probably 45 minutes outside of Vancouver on the west coast.
West Coast. Okay, and how did you
No,
say?
no,
How did you say that your city name?
Coquitlam. Not going to spell it for you,
I don't even.
but
I can't even. My tongue can't even make those sounds.
yeah, when you see it, it makes more sense. But yeah,
Yeah. If
Coquitlam,
I.
BC is where I'm at. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So we've got a really fun conversation lined up with Andy. We've had this in the works now for a few months. We thought, maybe there might be a chance might be able to hook up at like the Edmonton Snow Show when we were up in Canada. But we knew we could always jump on and do it remotely. So we had a backup plan, but we're stoked for the conversation. We've got some really cool questions. We're going to walk through um, the crash. I don't know if there's an official name for it, but it blew up last spring. What was it? March of
March
2020.
18th.
March 18th was the day that changed Andy's 2023 riding season pretty drastically. And so we're gonna get like the behind the scenes walkthrough, video walkthrough of what went down and what could have been done differently if you could go back and kind of replay that day, replay that hit, that send, right? And I think it'll be fun to kind of because I'm sure we've all seen it. I mean that thing blew up, and Andy, you'll get into some of the metrics there, but um, we'll have a fun conversation around that, and then we'll talk about setting it big, deep in the backcountry, and kind of how your style has transitioned throughout the years as you've graduated into a father role and gone that route. So. Um, we've mentioned this before, guys and gals. We're not a podcast company, so we don't make any money off the podcast. What you can do for us is either share this podcast out or simply subscribe to us on YouTube. All the links and everything will be in the description, and we've got some pretty sweet deals from a few of our companies and Onyx Off Road. So I think we're still waiting for Onyx to hit Canada. Um, the off road and the snow mode version. But if you're in the US, it's a must have app to have on your phone. So, anyways, Andy, enough of
Yeah,
me
buddy.
jabbering here. Let's kick things off. So, who is Andy Messner? For those who are watching or listening to this podcast, who are you?
Sure. Yeah. First of all, obviously, I'm a dad, the Shredder dad, Andy Messner Snow on Instagram. Basically, just a die-hard snowmobiler that is looking for adventure around every corner. Um, I love meeting new people in the backcountry. I love sharing my experience with people in the backcountry, and I'm just always kind of chasing the thrill. It doesn't define me as who I am as a person, but it's a big part of my life. Snowmobiling's been a part of my life since I was a child. I grew up in a snowmobile family that was always involved in snowmobile clubs and racing and always doing those things on the weekends where it's like flipping burgers for fundraisers or building trails in the summer. I've just grown up around motorsports and it's just turned into like a huge piece of my life. And to be honest, I never thought it would turn out the way it has. But snowmobiling has been a great industry. It's given me a lot of different opportunities. I made a lot of friends, and it really is a piece of who I am. And it's just I'm excited to share what I do with the world and make friends along the way, chase some thrills.
Nice. And so, have you always been more of a backcountry sledder, or did you? Is that something you kind of transitioned to as time into the sport and your skill set progressed?
Well, I've been around backcountry snowmobiling my whole life. So when I was a kid, my dad would jump in his airplane and he'd fly up over the mountain ranges during the week. And he would kind of like say, "Hey, I think we can drive up this logging road and we can snowmobile in through this fire zone or whatever it is." So we'd kind of plan out the route
That's right.
during the week and then go chase it during the weekend. So, the first time I went up in the backcountry with him, I think I was about 4 years old on like an old Mach 1, not like a mountain sled we have today, but I've been riding with him in the backcountry since a young age. Started riding on my own in the backcountry on like an old 583 Summit, like around 1995. So I would have been 9 years old at the time. So backcountry riding's always been a big part of what I've been doing, and I've always had that love for the mountains. But at that time, the snowmobiles didn't really allow us to get into the backcountry early. It was like March would come, and you get a few weeks in the backcountry. You get like maybe 3, 4 rides in the backcountry a year. Just because the technology was so poor, the snow was so deep. So, it is obviously what I've always loved to do the most. But, I grew up in a small town in the interior BC where it's 30 below Celsius all winter long. There's really not a lot to do. It's like you like ice fishing, you like hockey or snowmobiling. I didn't like either of those other things, but I love snowmobiling. So, I'd come home from school, I'd jump on the sled, and I'd ride till dark every day, and it just become my passion at an early age. And like I said, we were around the industry so much. So, but I did racing as a kid, drag races, hill climbs, a little bit around the track. Not never was like a track racer, but I was just in the industry, just around it my whole life. But backcountry's always been where my passion and like my urge to go has always been in the backcountry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so tell me about the area that you ride in. Are you like riding right out your back door, or do you have to drive, far to get to some of the zones that you ride in, or like what is it like up there for you?
Yeah, so like I said, when I was a kid and growing up, I'd walk out the front door and I'd jump on my snowmobile gone. Could just ride all day, all night from the front yard. Slowly became an adult, got a real job, and we moved to the Vancouver area, which is a huge city. It's the biggest city in Western Canada. There's
Yep.
4 million people around. Had to get a real job, go to school, do all those things, start a family. And now the city I live in has a couple 100,000 people. It's very rare to have snow. I got neighbors on every side of me. I'm a bit of a fish without water right now, living in the city, to be honest. So, no, I can't just walk on my door and ride anymore. I got to load the sled up and I got to drive about an hour and a half any direction to hit snow. So,
Okay.
we're surrounded by zones. It's not like it's a big chore to get to, but
Yep.
yeah, it's not something that's easily accessible like it used to be. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, we do get the odd snowstorm, and when it happens, I'm out. I'm out the door. I'm driving down the streets. I'm driving through parks. I still try and make it happen, but it's a bit more of a chore than it used to be. But doesn't slow down the passion. That's for sure.
Yeah. So as far as like occupation goes, like what do you do that allows you to have this, enjoy yourself in the sport of snowmobiling?
Yeah, so I'm a city manager at a smaller city nearby. I'm the parks manager, so it's I don't want to say it's a chill job because it's not. It's a lot of hard work. It's very busy, but I kind of come with this. They know that I'm a snowmobiler and they know that I take time off in the winter. I kind of save my time off in the winter. I have a
Yep.
great boss that is super supportive and they understand like this is part of who I am. And if you want Andy to be great in the workplace, you got to let him go do these things once in a while. So it's really a perfect combination. It's a good income, it's secure, it's safe. If there's a sunny pow day tomorrow, I just send a text, boom, I can go. So, very supportive management group that allows me to do these things. And I was in the golf course industry for a long time where I was laid off in the winters. So I'd work all summer, and I'd have 3, 4 months off in the winter. And then it's kind of that parky lifestyle, and it's very busy in the summer, a little quieter in the winter. So it's ideal for my lifestyle.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially to have a company or organization that um, is chill, is kosher with their employees going out, doing what gets them fired up, like what you said, so that you can bring that back into the work zone and be a rock star there too. So
Yeah, like I just spent 3 days in Revy with my buddies, and like it's an ugly time of year where we live. It rains a lot. It's gray. It can wear on people, and it can be a little different to kind of get through the doldrums of winter. I spent 3 days in Revy with the boys. I ride every day. I'm exhausted, barely sleeping. I come back to work, and I'm invigorated again. And
Uh-huh.
it's just kind of in my DNA that I kind of need that to function in some ways.
Yeah. Yeah. So you sent an email to me late or early. It was early Friday, I think it was. You're like, hey, I got the boys. We're doing a road trip up to Revy, and we might be able to do a podcast with everyone. We didn't end up getting a podcast because you guys just rode and recuperated. Uh,
Yeah,
but
barely recuperated.
barely, just rode.
Yeah, yeah.
Any you got anything to report on from that trip? Anything crazy go down or
You know what? Not really.
pretty
Like,
chill?
so pretty, I don't want to call it chill by any means. We didn't do any flips or some big jumps, but
So you had
we're with a
yourself
great group.
and who else was there with you?
Curtis Gage, Kyle Saxton, our buddy Sun and Snow, who's just started working with Deviant Inc. So, and then a bunch of other people that were from around the world. White Skull Films, his name's Elliot Dion. We had a legit crew, and we were intending to go just film the whole time. The weather was not ideal for filming. It was raining, it was snowing, it was a mixed bag. The snow was good, but not great, and it was just so socked in. It just didn't lend itself to doing anything crazy. It was very difficult to see. So we just shredded all day, and we let the sun go down, and we kept shredding. We were getting back to the trucks about 8 o'clock at night. We're riding with headlamps in a blizzard every night, and we just made sure we were right out of fuel and energy every single night. So we had a lot of fun. Not the most productive weekend, but we needed it. We've had a terrible snow season in BC, and it's been a real struggle to get in the flow. It's like you get a couple good days and then weeks of rain or no snow or no sun. So we just wanted to go have fun and just kind of took it back to the basics and just shredded hard,
Yeah. Good for you
which
guys.
we all needed. Yeah, it was super fun.
Yeah.
And I'd never met Kyle. He's a great guy. He was super fun, super chill dude, and I was just blown away by the stuff he does. I'm a jumper, I'm a dropper. You point me at a jump and I'll blow your mind. To get me into the trees and do the technical stuff that he's doing, it blew me away. It was awesome. I'd never seen some of those things that he was doing. And
Yeah.
the guy never stops, man. The guy never stops. He's just a machine.
You just got the motor on the whole time.
Yeah, and he's just such a chill, nice dude. It was awesome.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you
Yep.
that. I was going to be my next question is Andy, if we go to your Instagram, we see you highly, like high alpine, like big sands, no trees ever. So you either just don't film yourself in the trees or you just, don't really care to spend your time riding, in the trees. Is that like where are we at here? Like are you do you ride, do you ride trees? Are you hustling trees like or do you just I got to get through them to get to where I want to go?
No, so like I love tree riding, and almost like when you go into the trees, it's kind of like your chill time to just have fun. It's like I just vibe out, I'm feeling it. Um, it's much more of a relaxed opportunity when you're hitting huge jumps and drops, new and flips. Sometimes it's not even fun. The stress levels are through the roof. You know, if you make a mistake like I have, it's gonna end in something bad, major bodily injury. There's risk of avalanche. You know, it's some of this is life or death. So when I ride the trees, it's just more like I'm gonna go and enjoy it. I love it. I can do it. I'm not as talented as some because I don't do it as much. Like Kyle's on another level, Curtis Gage is on another level. But don't get me wrong, I can keep up with them. I can have a good time, and it's just a different vibe. So I just kind of focus on enjoying it instead of worrying about producing content.
Yeah.
Yep,
Awesome.
yep. So don't get me wrong, I'd love to diversify my portfolio a little bit when it comes to Instagram and social media because I know it's not out there. But yeah, like I said, I'm just kind of just enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah, I haven't even really thought about that um, until you mentioned that about Kyle shredding the trees, and I was like, I don't know if I've ever seen
Yeah, yeah.
uh, you know uh Andy with his um, Insta 360, in the trees, but
They're out there. There's some clips around. I'm sitting on a few
okay,
for sure. I get squirrely out there, but don't get me wrong. I pound into trees all the time. I'm upside down the tree well. It's not always as effortless as some others, but yeah, I sure enjoy it.
Nice. Well, cool. Um,
Yeah.
let's transition. So I want to spend some time uh, talking about this this big crash, this wreck, whatever we want to call it. Last year, last March. I'm going to see if I can pull this video up. Let's see if we can share
Yeah,
the
and there's like
screen.
there's a whole backstory that kind of led to that too, which we can get into if you want before you pull it up or during. There's
Yep.
so many events that led into that. It was such like the whole day played a part in the outcome. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like one moment in time. It was a variety of moments that led to that point, which is
Perfect.
kind of crazy to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. I can tell. I can easily screen share this in. Give us the backstory here. Maybe let's start at the end. So you do a big send, and it doesn't turn out. It doesn't go the way you had planned. List the injuries that came from it.
Yeah, so I dislocated my hip and broke my pelvis.
Dislocated hip, broke pelvis. That is
Yeah, and
like
they kind of
total
go hand in hand.
annihilation of the
Yeah.
midsection, man.
Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand, right? So like
Yeah.
my leg, I took a major impact and it popped the side of my pelvis out. So when it was dislocating the hip, it actually broke the pelvis at the same time.
Ooh.
Yeah, there
Okay.
was other injuries. Like I had minor injuries in my knee. I torn meniscus. Obviously I'm beat up from head to toe, but that was the epicenter of the injury.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the magnitude of what this what this event what came from this event. Lead us up to it. Okay, so who you're with, what the plan for the day was. Walk us walk us through the beginning stages of how this day played out.
Sure, yeah. I basically have to rewind it literally, I don't know, 5 to 10 days back. So
Okay.
I've been one of my good friends, Jeff Brown. He's a pro snowboarder and whistler. He has a web series called Out of Service. Amazing films he makes. He does stuff on YouTube all the time. I've been riding and featured in his films for 6 years now. We're good buddies, and every year we film together in when was it? Late February, he was invited to create a short film for the Intersection Film Festival in Whistler. So Intersection is a film festival where you have 12 days to film and edit your whole film. So it's like 12 days of chaos. You're riding as much as you can, filming as much as you can, and editing it all in once. And it's a huge film festival, a $10,000 prize. So I get a phone call from him saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I got a great theme for the film. Do you want to be part of it?" I said, "Yes, of course." So like honestly, it was probably like the first half of the festival, the filming period, 6 or 7 days. We had rain, we had snow, we had terrible viz, and boom, we see the last maybe 5 days of the filming window is gonna go blue. We have great sun. Everyone's really hungry, so. Fast forward to when I finally get out there. It's, my first day. I've taken multiple days off of work to go filming, knowing that I want to have an impactful part in this film. We go well with Curtis Gage, Andrew Munster, Cody McNulty, Brody Forchalk, a whole bunch of others, like a major group of shredders. Elliot Dion from White Skull Films, he's filming. So we're all like-minded individuals. We love to send it. We're going to do crazy things, and we know it's going to be crazy because it's such a mix of crazy athletes. So we get to our favorite zone. The weather's perfect. The snow's perfect. Everything's just like shaping up ideally. Um, Curtis, our buddy Derek, and myself built this jump called Tombstone in Whistler. It's been featured in every Slednex film known. It's huge.
You guys built
Turcotte's
it?
doing
What do you mean you built it?
so like it's a bit of a natural wind lip with a huge like 120-foot gap or more to a landing, but you can't just hit it naturally. We had to build a kicker off it.
Okay.
And it's a pretty legit build. It's not a massive build, but you need that extra boost to get the gap because it's a huge jump.
Okay.
Turcotte did a Superman seat grab off it a few years ago, and we had aspirations to hit it bigger than anyone, so we made it extra kicky, extra big. My buddies had done it. Everyone else had done it. I hadn't. So Anyways, fast forward, Curtis hits it twice, stomps it perfect to landing. It's my turn. I'm like, this is terrifying, this jump. It's huge. We're 40, 50, 60 feet in the air, huge gap. I do it twice in a row, stomp it. I'm like I'm the king of the world, just feeling amazing. A couple of our other buddies hit it and they crash, like come up short, like short, 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 breaking ribs, blowing their sleds apart.
Did you
So
say
like that day
breaking
was
ribs?
breaking ribs. Our buddy Derek destroyed his ribs. Brody Forchuk came up short, I think, twice as well. Blew his sled apart. Like it's carnage, and it's hitting a jump is
Eesh.
scary. Watching your buddies hit a jump is even scarier because you're worried for them. It's different when you're on the sled, right? It's so the whole day was already just nuts. While we're hitting this jump, McNulty and Munster are down building the flip jump that we'd all agreed that we're going to flip it. They built it early. It was a warm day. We go down to the lake where this beautiful flip jump is built, is painted, send it on there. Brody painted all over it. So it was time to hit this jump.
Which is the
Um,
jump we see in the video. Blue, send it. Yep.
yep,
Yep.
yep. It had been sitting there caked in the sun for quite a while and it was warm. So the snow was a little choppy under the ski. And like I said, I came down there. I was just like king of the world at the time, unstoppable, super confident, overconfident. And everyone's like, Andy, you're killing it. You hit the jump first. You do the flip first, get your shot out of the way, and we'll go next. And it's like, wow, I get the first hit on this awesome jump. Fire it up. So I didn't even put a track or a ski into the jump. I just lined it up and pinned it. So I came in overconfident. I didn't really take any time to think about the jump. I didn't have a say in the build of the jump. There's all these things that kind of led to that moment.
Mm.
Um, that
Because if you had
really,
help, if you had some hands in building that jump, you would have maybe a little bit more perspective as far as, I don't know, angle, slope. Oh, let me just kind of tweak this thing here a little bit for my liking.
yeah,
It'd probably be a little bit more like that. Is that how it kind of would have went down? Or
yeah, well, I would have had a much more intimate understanding of what it was like to hit that jump and what it was going to feel like. Because I've flipped a variety of times. And everyone likes their flip jumps a little different. Like it's not just a cookie cutter cut and paste jump.
yep.
I know I like mine kind of a little bit off axis, just a little different than everyone else. And I just didn't have any input into the build. And I just kind of took that for granted that I should be at least paying attention to how that build is. So that was a huge mistake.
Yeah. And this exact location of where you guys built this jump, was this a first time hitting this jump in this location, or had you guys built this thing, season after season? You always hit, stomp it right here, or no?
I had never hit it. It had been hit before. McNulty and Turca, they all flipped off it in previous years. And we've looked at it and it was an ideal spot for it. Like it was perfect for it. It was a perfect takeoff off a lake, nice landing. So you'd be a little bit off axis, kind of doing like a 270 flip. It made perfect sense to me that this was the perfect spot for it. But it was new to me.
Yeah. And so you
Yeah.
just came off just stomping this monster, right? Are you looking at this as like, oh, like I just did this thing. This is yeah, it's a flip, but it's something I've done before. Let's rock and roll.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Because this jump at Tombstone we just hit, in my opinion, is way scary, way more scary, way riskier than doing a flip. Like to learn a flip, you're gonna crash a few times, and it's like when you're spinning a snowmobile and it's not going right, it's really easy to kind of just push away, and the spinning motion just ejects you away from the sled. It's very rare that you get squished underneath it. So yeah, I just came in super hot, super confident, pulled back way too hard and my hand slipped off the bars. So
So let's do a play. Well, should we do a play by play real quick?
sure, yeah, let's do it. Yeah,
Let's do it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's get some sound on. Okay, so here we are. Andy, we are leading up to this. We have painted blue. We've got Send It. We are jacked up. We just hit Tombstone. This is nothing. And are we on a lake right here? Or is that what you said we are?
yep, coming off a lake into just a perfect booter.
Okay, and so these sleds right here, this is where the guys are. When later on in the video we see the boys fire up their engines and they race up to you. This is where they were parked at. It was right here to the right. We zoom
Yeah,
past them, right?
everyone's in there. Yeah,
Okay,
exactly. We got drones in the air. We got cameras all around.
just perfect settings. I mean, look
Yeah,
at this,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
we get closer. We get closer. Okay, we are right here, right before takeoff. Um, is there anything in this frame that, as we have it framed right here, at this point, is everything looking like, you know, money dialed in? Are we
Money.
still we're still money right here?
Money, because I'm a little bit off, because I like to kind of, off axis is a
Yep.
bit. I'm kind of off the left side. My hands are mounted to the bars, full pin. Everything's looking good.
Okay, so we are full pins. Let's just see if we can go a little bit further here. Okay, so there we go. That happened quick, but it looks like right hand right hand comes off first. Is that what
Yep,
happened?
yep. The right hand
So,
came off. Yeah, like I said, I pulled back a little too hard. And yeah, just totally out of control when you're at that point because I'm kind of like sprawled right back. I'm not in control in any way, shape, or form. And I'm in a very vulnerable position because, when you're already laying back, you can't push away. If like my hand came off a bit and I could still push,
push
would have been a
distance
different
yourself.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm already so sprawled out. All I could do was let go, essentially. So very
Okay.
awkward and uncomfortable position.
So how many times have you been in this, not this position where you are right now, but engaging in that flip? How many times have you been in that position?
Honestly, I've probably done 100 flip attempts, I would say, to be honest, or more, like many, many, many times. So this was extremely foreign. I've never been in this vulnerable of a position. So yeah, I didn't even know what to do, to be honest. It was just basically panic at this point. Like, oh, I know I'm in trouble at that
Yeah.
point.
So you
Yep.
said your right hand comes off because you pulled a little bit too hard. Is that what made you pull a little bit too hard?
Well, and that's the thing. Like I've always preached this to when I'm teaching others how to flip. Like, don't even yank back. Don't worry about that because there is always a chance of losing the bars. Let the snowmobile do the work. When I would come in kind of late, pin it. The snowmobile would do most of the work. All you need to do is look where you want to go, and it'll follow you. So I think I pulled back just because just so stoked and so fired up and overconfident. And I think the jump baking in the sun for several hours while we were hitting this other jump played a huge part. It was, and it was a late, March 18th. It's spring conditions. It's warm, so
Yeah.
it had really set up. So there might have been a little wiggle in the skis, and just it wasn't smooth transition. So that I think that played a part. It was very firm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're essentially just dropping now. We can't distance ourselves. We can't, pu- kick or push or anything that to get that, 500 plus pound machine away from our body right at this point. And so I'm going to hit play again. We'll go kind of let a couple little, milliseconds go by and see what happens.
Sure.
Okay. So, well, you have not hit the ground yet. This is actually a pretty sick, uh,
You paused it in a good
it's
spot.
positive, a good spot. So let's pretend we're here with you right now, Andy. At this moment, so is your Insta 360? Is your head turned and you're just showing the machine right now, or are you looking up at it directly?
Looking straight at it, staring straight at it.
Okay, so you are looking straight at it. At what point, like, did you know from the very beginning this machine is going to land on me?
No, I didn't. So, the way, if you look at it, it kind of looks like it's going to fall past my feet from
Yeah,
there.
on that side,
And
right? Like further. Uh huh.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh, good, I'm okay. And then, like, so it was a moment of relief. And then as it came towards me, yeah, obviously I knew it was going to happen. I kind of let out a bit of a grunt in anticipation of it landing on me. So if there was a moment in there where I'm like, oh, I'm good to go. I'll just flip this thing over, try it again. So
When
yeah,
you
not the case.
when you hit the ground here, we'll see it, and you're bracing. Did you do anything? Did it happen so fast you just hit and then boom, it landed on you? Or were you
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to turn, get your hands up, any sort of thing, or it just happened so quick?
Happened so quick, no protection. I have to admit, I was a little naive because it was still great snow. It was really deep powder. I'm like, oh, even if it lands on me, I'm probably okay. It's pretty deep. It's going to cushion me. And yeah, that was obviously so wrong.
Okay, let's move on to the next frame here. Okay, you do let out kind of a yeah, this is about to happen. This is about to happen, and then smack, right?
Yeah,
Um, well, let's just let this play.
sure.
Okay. Like, I'm sure you've watched this many times over.
Too many.
And I'm sure this isn't the only time, you've had a snowmobile on top of you. Probably the first time maybe in this exact way. But what's going through your head right now in this exact moment?
Yeah, so like obviously it landed on me. It was obviously a huge impact, but there was like no pain associated with it really. It was just more like, oh man, get this thing off me. It was difficult to move, like it's pinning me down. It's hard to breathe. And I have been pinned under snowmobiles before, and waiting for buddies to come pull it off you. It's never a nice feeling.
Yeah.
So obviously, I tried to move around, tried to get it off me, knew I couldn't. So basically, I just kind of like, waited for my friends. Curtis Gage has been one of my best friends forever in the backcountry, and he's bailed me out in a few times with this sort of situation. So I'm like, oh, Curtis will be on me in no time at all. He'll peel this thing off. So it wasn't like panic. There was no pain. Just it was uncomfortable. And just like, oh man, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a random question, but how do you have your camera mounted on your helmet? Do you have it on the top, on the side, or down below the chin? Do you
I think
remember?
for this one, no, I think this one was under my visor. If I'm
Oh, you
not
had it
mistaken.
tucked under here because I'm thinking like, how is
Yeah.
that? How is your like? How did your camera capture all of this?
Well,
It wasn't in the snow or anything, So
that's the thing about the Insta 360. When you can, in editing, you can pan the point of view anywhere you want. If this was a traditional camera, it might not have captured it because you can just spin that focal point around and capture it all. But yeah, I think it was under my visor for this one. I've mounted them to a variety of different places, and yeah, the under the visor is great because it just captures the sled so perfectly. So, if I'm not mistaken, that's where that one was.
yeah, and that's your mounting location of choice, right under the visor, right there.
Under the visor or on the sled, which I have a whole nother angle of this crash from the sled's perspective, that's never seen the light of day. I almost forgot I had it. So yeah, that's a different perspective, but there's a whole nother one that might make the internet one day.
Okay, can't wait for that. Okay,
Yeah.
so well, we're gonna play through this. You're gonna slowly realize probably some pain starts to come in, and we're gonna see some serious acrobatic moves come in here. Is it the first person to you? Is that Cody?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we're gonna see like some He-Man type stuff, be get pulled, happen right here. So we'll hit play. So we're waiting. You tried to push a little bit right there. I think it looks like ain't nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, couldn't move.
Okay. So
Andy, I'm good. I'm good.
that move right there, I don't know what you call that move. That's like, I mean, is there a name for that move that Cody just
That
well, I
that's the
mean, he's
ultimate
wearing a
hop.
hat that says "Be a good human," I think, and that right there was definitely being a good human. What he just did.
Cody is a good human. He's like one of the best humans on the planet. So yeah, good dude. Yeah, that was like the ultimate hop over, coming in hot. He was flying in there. He was in there in seconds, and yeah, made
No
it look pretty
gloves on.
effortless.
He's bare,
N-
just hands, no gloves. Okay, so anything we need to add right here? I mean, we'll get into him what he does here in the next frame, but essentially he has no I mean, from what you've heard from Cody, like when they were down there watching until they got to you, what was kind of the within it was a matter of seconds, right? But what was kind of like the vibe or like, what just happened?
Well, yeah, obviously, like I'm very uncomfortable because it's difficult to breathe. The sled's on top of me. I know I'm kind of being crushed, but then yeah, Cody comes and does this flying hop over, and he's kind of like checking me out to make sure I'm alive, probably. And I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. I'm fine. Just get this sled off me.
Yeah.
So I was just like, like not any panic had set in. Still didn't know I was really injured. Yeah, there's some pain, but it's like, dude, just get the sled off me. Let's just move on. Basically,
Yeah.
is what I was thinking at that time. And then yeah, we can
And,
carry on, and then it changed quickly.
yeah, and then from their perspective, I guess they don't know. Maybe the sled, landed on your neck, crushed, hit your head, crushed you that way. Maybe no idea from the angle that they were at. So
No, and there's several videos from down below, and Cody's filming, and he sees me lose control, and I'm floating, and he is yelling, "No, no, no,"
yes,
on the video. So he's very aware of how dangerous this stuff is. He's been through it all, so he understood the ramifications of
he
that accident.
in his video he started saying no, no, no as soon as that hand came. Like he knew it. Like he knew this was
Yeah,
not good.
yeah, he knew it for sure.
Okay, so let's hit play here and see what happens. Okay, so Cody, superhuman hop over, lands almost perfectly, mounts this thing like in perfection, perfect mount. Boom, he's there. Now, what
Yeah,
what
kind of
he's
checking
about to
out.
do right here? This is just like pure adrenaline, like flowing through his system right now, right?
Yeah, you've heard of those stories like throwing cars up people or whatever it is, like superhuman strength. This is on video, superhuman strength.
Yeah, he
Like nothing.
essentially does like a 500-pound curl to an overhead press, and then just tosses it, right? So let's watch this.
Yeah, yeah, he's not just lifting it, he's throwing it.
Okay, so the first few times I watched this, I thought that was you like moaning with pain.
Oh,
It
yeah.
did. It took me a while to realize. No, that's just pure like man stuff going on right there. Of just I'm giving it everything I have right now to get this machine off my buddy.
Yeah, he had to let it out to get that sled off.
So when that pressure came off, is that the first moment you realize, oh man, I've got something wrong here?
Yeah, exactly. That's when I knew, and it wasn't like still the pain wasn't the issue. It was like, the your instincts are to start moving right away in that situation, and like I knew right away that something was wrong because I tried to move my leg, and I literally had zero control over my leg. I could not move my leg at all. Couldn't lift it. Couldn't do anything, and that's when I'm like, okay, I'm hurt in some way. I didn't really know what at that point because the
Yeah.
pain was still very minimal at that point.
Okay. Let's hit play here and finish this out. Yep.
Yeah, you could see my
That's
legs
that
pointing.
Curtis right there.
Curtis running up the hill. He's
Oh,
just like he
he
was running.
ran up the hill.
He ran up the hill, and there's still like 3 feet of powder. It's a steep hill. Like his instincts were just to get to me quick. I don't think his brain connected the dots of jumping on a snowmobile and riding up to me, so he just started booking it. He was on foot, and we laugh about that today. We're like, we laugh about the video of him running up the hill to save me.
Oh man, that I don't know if I've seen that video.
They're out there. It's out there.
Is it out there? Okay, I'll have to look for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so these guys get the machine off you.
Oh, I'm hurt. Fucking hands
Cut my
came.
sled off.
Right? I don't know. Fucking hands.
Okay, it's hit play. That was it, right?
That was it.
Here it
Yep.
is, all in one motion.
Ouch.
Andy,
I'm good. I'm good. Just get this off me quick.
Okay.
Oh, I'm hurt. Fucking hands came.
Sled off.
Right?
I don't know.
Yeah, the response time was still good from everyone. Like, it was amazing. It's, it's so
Yeah,
important to have people that
we're
act
what,
that way.
20 seconds maybe?
Yep. Yep. And I knew I was in good hands. There was like no panic. Like, I knew we were good.
Okay, so we're back. We are back. Okay, so Andy, we just did kind of a play-by-play of that experience. We're to the aftermath now. Like, for most of us, we get the commentary in the description of your post, but I don't know if that's all of it. And walk us through, like, from you laying there saying, I can't, I'm in some pain, this hurts, to getting yourself down, back down from the mountain. Like how far deep are you into the backcountry? Are you able to get to some sort of an access trail, groomed or whatnot, to get down? Like what kind of an extraction was it?
Okay, so yeah, obviously they've lifted the sled off me, and I knew I was injured in some way. I knew I couldn't move my leg at all. I had a feeling my hip was dislocated, and I just remember thinking of a buddy that dislocated his hip when we were in soccer as kids, and in just the agony, I'm like, there's no way I can be hurt that bad because it doesn't hurt. That being said, okay, let's get me down the hill. They kind of carry me down to the lake and try to stand me up, and that's whenever I put any pressure, any weight on the leg, that's when the pain became extreme.
Uh-huh.
And I was in shock, obviously, and I was feeling pretty nauseous and a little lightheaded. The thing that's when I'm like, okay, I'm in rough shape. They did a full assessment on everything. Like they checked everything, poked and prodded essentially to see if there's any signs of major trauma, and nothing hurt. So the assessment on the side of the hill didn't really show us what was truly wrong. I said, guys, just put me on my sled. I'm not feeling good. I need to sit down. So it was painful, but when I sat on my snowmobile, the pain went away. So I was like, oh, geez, so maybe I'm okay. Maybe there's just bad bruising. I'm like super naive and had no clue how serious it was. So everyone's kind of like, man, that was crazy. I can't believe that. I'm like, oh, boys, I'm fine. I'm just going to chill, have some water. You guys hit the jump. I'm good to go. Yeah, really dumb. And then my vision started kind of like closing in. Everything would started going dark, and it was like just like a pinhole of light. And I was really close
What?
to passing out. Yeah, so I'm like, okay, no, I need to go, guys. Call a helicopter. Like I know I'm hurt now. I've kind of had enough time to think about it and feel this stuff, and I know I've got serious injuries. I need a heli out here. I can't get out here on my own. We're in a zone that's probably 25 kilometers, maybe 15 miles or something away from the closest parking lot. We're in no cell service. Curtis had to ride up just a short ride to get into cell phone range. None of us had our sat phones, which is silly as well. We all have those things for whatever reason that day. None of us had them. Curtis, it was just a 5-minute ride up to the nearest point. He makes a phone call to search and rescue. And they said, how bad are his injuries? And we said, we're not really sure. We think his hip's dislocated. And they said, okay, that's fine. There's 6 other more serious calls in front of you. It's about a
Oh,
6-hour wait per call. We'll see you tomorrow. And the doctor or the search and rescue person on the other line was like, if he can get out on his own, just do that because you're gonna have to spend the night, and we don't know what's going on there. If he's able to get out on his own, we suggest you ride out. So
is
Curtis
that
came right.
normal to have that many search and rescue,
No,
instances? Just
no.
bad
So
luck of the draw, just bad luck on that day.
bad luck. And that was part of the whole weekend, right? We'd all been hungry for snow. There had been not good snow, not good light. It was St. Patrick's Day, which in Whistler is like a holiday. Like everyone's out. A lot of people are partying and drinking and doing things on their snowboards and stuff they shouldn't be doing. So the search and rescue and the hospitals were just overrun with calls that day. It was just terrible timing. Um, so that's when Curtis came back and told me, hey, like, if you can ride out, just get out of here. And I said, well, I'm sitting on my sled right now. I'm not in any pain. Like, I feel 100% fine. I know I'm hurt. Fine, let's just point me in the right direction. Let's start riding. So Made the call right then and there just to do self extraction. Started riding across the lake, no pain. I think I had Brody Forchalk was with me and my buddy Derek Carson. They're the two that kind of stuck with me. Curtis was with me as well. There was other things that happened in the group. We had blown chain cases. Like there's other carnage going on. So those were the three guys that were there to help me and just said, "Okay, let's just get going. It's starting to get late in the day. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm not doing well. It's time to go." So made that call. Was fine until there was one steep hill climb that I actually had to stand up and try to side hill on my own. And that's when I knew it was bad because I heard grinding and crunching in my hip, and then the pain became extreme. So I probably did more harm in that
Oh,
moment.
uh-huh.
Yeah, it was like I just had to do it though. So I'm standing on a broken hip with a dislocated leg, trying to side hill snowmobile. Wasn't great. So, anyways, I got down to the groomed trail, thankfully, and it had been just groomed right before I was on it. So it was like a highway for the most part. It was very
Oh, that's
smooth.
good.
That was a miracle, because that would have been way worse. I get to the trucks and I hear an ambulance. I'm like, oh, that's probably my ambulance. I'm going to rip down there on my sled. I get to the ambulance and they're like flagging me down. They're like, where's the patient? We're here to get him. I'm like, I'm the patient. They're like, no, 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 you're not the patient. I'm like, yeah, you need to get me in the hospital right now. And they were just blown away that I rode myself out. And then, yeah, then it was, kind of the next part of the journey into the surgery, into the hospital, and 3 months of not walking.
So 3 months, and is that pretty typical for a dislocated hip and broken pelvis?
Yeah, so the surgery is quite significant. I've got I don't know, it's probably like 8-inch long surgery mark kind of on my thigh towards my butt.
Uh-huh.
It's a very traumatic surgery. They got to pull a lot of your muscles apart. They grab the biggest nerve in your body and they like fish hook it. They pull it out of the way. So the surgery
That's
itself is
sketchy.
traumatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Like there's major complications come from that surgery. They damage all those muscles. Like the hip and pelvis has been healed for months, but I'm still suffering from pain and discomfort and stiffness in all those muscles that they peeled apart to get into the pelvis.
Wow. So
Yeah,
three
and
months goes by, lay low. Well, after 3 months, is it like physical therapy? I mean, I guess at what point did you feel like, did you ever think I'm not riding again?
well, of course, those moments come through your mind. I'm in a hospital for almost 10 days, and it's like, you're lonely and you're going through a variety of emotions. And of course, there's moments where like I might never, not necessarily not ride again, but I'll never ride at my previous level again, which is
Yes.
kind of like it was difficult at times. But I'm also really stubborn. I had great family support. I had great support in the hospital. It was 8 hours post surgery, and they're like, "Get out of your bed. Here's your walker. Get moving." And I'm thinking,
Get
like, "There's no
going,
way I
bud.
can do it." Yeah. So like they force you into physio right then and there. And in one day I was on crutches. In a week, I was hobbling around the house, moving freely with crutches, but
Uh-huh.
not putting any weight on that leg. So, I was very stationary for 3 months. If I had to go to the bathroom and go, I could. But yeah, there's a lot of emotions that go through someone's mind in those moments. There's some dark times in there, but I'm a very stubborn human being. And like I was in the hospital doing physio right away, doing all those leg exercises. I would not let that hold me back and had to prove it to myself that I could continue doing the sport I love.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, as far as the time frame lines up, when was the next time you put a leg over a snowmobile?
It was late. It was what? We had a late start to the season. I'm going to say like end of November.
Yep.
End of November here. We had a late start to the season. The conditions were poor then too. We go up this mountain and it's like, hey, this is going to happen. I don't know if this is like if I can ride this or not because I didn't touch the snowmobile all summer. Like I almost needed to disconnect fully and I didn't even go to the garage. I didn't do
Wipe the
anything to it.
slate clean, boom, ready to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, so like really the first time I whipped a leg over it, so when I loaded it, but I didn't do anything before that. And then we get to the mountain and I'm like 1 minute up the trail and my thigh is killing me, my hips killing me, all these things. I'm like, oh shoot, like I might not be able to ride hard again. And it just took a little bit to work those muscles in, and by the end of the day I was pain free, like shredding hard day one. So
Oh, sweet.
I'm thankful I had a great surgeon, a great team that took care of me, and And like I said, I've been doing all the right things, doing all the physio, and the more I put in, the more I get out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So how is your riding? How have you had to adjust your riding since the accident?
I
Like much
haven't.
at all, or
Not at all so far. I don't know, probably it's once again, we've only had a few days on the sleds this year. Right around Christmas holidays, just before, just after, somewhere in there, hit one of the jumps I've hit before. It's a pretty big jump. I went pretty hard. Was not in my mind. I just committed, sent it, landed hard, hit my knee into the sled, kind of sent a shockwave up the hip. I felt it. It wasn't pain. I knew there was hardware in there, but that was like the moment I'm like, okay, I could probably just do anything I want again. So
yeah,
I kind of just let it go then. It's done. It's a done deal. It's behind me.
that's great. That's great news.
I feel very fortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Well, cool. So this happens. How long after it happened? Well, was it like the next day? Like when did the video get published, posted?
You know what? A couple days maybe after, I kind of like hung on to it a little bit. Well, it's like I said, it's kind of a dark time. It's emotional. The
Oh yeah.
surgery was long and extensive. Like, it wasn't, I was not a normal human being those first few days. I was in a lot of pain at that point. So it might have been like day 3, posted it to Instagram, and obviously it started blowing up right away. And I knew I was just going to keep going and keep going. Um, and obviously, I had so many people reach out to me with similar injuries from around the world, like professional athletes, professional skiers, all these wonderful people saying, "Hey, I've recovered from the same injury. You can do it too." So it was amazing.
So I want to take just a couple minutes, and I was trying to see the numbers on that video. Um, I'm sure you had so many. I don't like. How do you even respond to? I mean, there's still probably people left in your unreads like from that time.
Yeah,
Like
there is.
I can't even imagine. Like, we get a lot of messages as just being a company, and sometimes they fall in the unread and you don't see them. We've
Yep,
never had anything like this happen, and so
yep.
I can't imagine how much outreach was sent your way, and what the response was back to that. But 7.5 million views on Instagram.
On my
Okay.
own personal Instagram. Yep.
Yes. And let me see. Do we This thing got shared, sent, right? We're at 185,000 sends. So whether
Yeah,
they sent it to their stories, they sent it to their buddy, their writing group, 185,000 of those
yeah,
viral. Like
yep.
this thing took off. Um, Anything that's like super wild and crazy that came from like the social aspect of it.
For sure. Like I said, the people that just reached out that wanted to share their stories and help me, like I've been to kind of one of those cynical people, be like, oh, there's, humanity's screwed, all these things. I've never been one to be like, oh, I have so much faith in humanity, all these things. And I had so many people reach out to me that genuinely cared and wanted me to heal and feel good and help me. And that was honestly, that was a huge part of my recovery. Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of time in the hospital for 10 days sitting there by yourself. Like, the family
You
comes
get
and goes, and I
antsy.
spend a lot of time
Yeah.
with them. You do. So I had a lot of time on social media to try and reply to comments and messages. So it restored some of my faith in humanity. That was amazing. But then I started getting the craziest follows from celebrities and people I never would have thought. People on Netflix shows and Amazon shows and like just bizarre people following me, commenting, sending me messages that like it literally went through Hollywood level
Oh
of actors,
wow.
which is just bizarre to me. Um, I could go on and on. Like the owner of Binance, which is like a huge Bitcoin like company that's worth $200 billion, sends me a message on there and follows me. It was just like, what? How did you? Why? But thank you. I appreciate you. But it just blew weird, very weird connections, and like I said, just people from Netflix TV series and stuff reaching out to me. It was crazy, totally crazy.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, with
Yeah, and like
7.5 million views, like, you gotta you've some of those views gotta come from some of those, some of those types of people, right?
Well, and that's the thing. So, and I didn't put it on TikTok right away, which was a mistake for myself. I should have done it right away. I'm on TikTok and I get a message from some random account and it's like, "Hey, I posted your video and it's going viral. I don't worry, I tagged you in it." And he had like 16 million views on it at that point, and like his ended up with like 50 plus million views.
Oh
And
my
I didn't get
gosh.
anything from it. And then Barstool Sports has posted it multiple times. It went around the world. It went around many, many, many times. I had news agencies literally from like Finland, Sweden, Tokyo wanting to talk to me about the crash, which, like sure, yeah, let's share the story, trying to educate and help. And you know, it was a crazy time, but a lot of good people out there. So
Yeah.
it was weird. I look back on it and I still can't believe it happened sometimes, but it wasn't all negative. There was a lot of positives that came from it.
Yeah. Um, so you're still sending it. You're still going to send it big in the
Yeah, now that
backcountry.
I know I can. Now that I
Yeah.
know I can. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
always a little worried, but yeah, that's what I do.
Will you be transitioning? Will you be adjusting anything? Will you be doing anything differently? Do you do anything differently now post crash?
I would probably selectively pick the big sends in the kind of like an order, perhaps. Like I'll start with some that I'm more familiar on that I know have a smoother landing and see how it goes. But like I said, I hit a pretty big jump. It was not a good landing. It was crappy snow and I was fine. But that being said, like I kind of have a game plan if we ever get winter here on the West Coast with which jumps I'm going to hit first. I'll probably save Tombstone for maybe the last or maybe next year because that was such a massive jump. But no, it's I'm shredding hard now, and it's just not even in my mind. Like it's gone as far as I'm
So
concerned.
good.
Yeah. So like I feel great on a sled. That's one good thing about this injury. Like those muscles that are destroyed in my thigh really don't affect the riding. There's no strength in that region for riding. So it's not the worst injury to overcome for a snowmobiler.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. Hey, we've got kids coming home from swim lessons here, right? That's
Yes,
that
we
that
do, buddy.
that
Yeah.
that is that's what we get to deal with. And you've got how many kids do you have? One,
I
two?
got two boys. Yeah, Huxon's almost 6, and Wilder's about 2.5. So
So
yeah,
six and 2.5. There you go, man.
they're they're my dudes for sure, my best buddies.
Rad. So we'll try and respect that time and let you get them to bed. But we always end every episode with two questions. Okay. And we call this kind of like our lightning or our fire round here. The first question, Andy, you've got a brand new sled. So first off, what would be well, actually let's just do your sled right now. Okay.
Sure.
Um, we'll do your sled. What are the first three and only three? You only get three mods that you can make to that machine. What are those three things you're going to put on?
Sure. It always starts with a GGB can. I have loved the sound of the quiet can. It's lighter weight. That's the first the easiest thing to do, to be honest.
Yep.
Lightens up, get rid of that suitcase, so that's always a must. Next would have to be cheetah bars, I'd have to say. Just the control of those cheetah bars and the strength and durability when you're hitting big jumps, you need to know you're not going to fold in your stock bars because
Yeah.
that's happened. So that's a huge mental piece. And
Do
then
you run?
finally
Do
for
you
the
run
big,
a sorry to cut you off? Do you run a certain bar from Cheetah?
yeah, like the Boondocker 2.0s.
Okay.
I like them that got the 2 inch rise, and I'm a taller guy. I'm 6'3", so I like that a little bit extra height with a 4 inch riser. So yeah, I just prefer those. They just feel right for me. Been riding them basically forever.
Okay.
Final thing, definitely Raptor suspension because I'm 6'3", I'm 250 pounds, and I jump like 150 feet. I need that suspension. That is essential to what I do. So
I don't
those are my
know if
top three.
I don't know if I mean those who you ride with, of course, know you're that tall. Like that's what your stature is. I don't think those of us that just get to see you on social media realize that you're doing those things being that stature.
I
That's
don't think
pretty
anyone else is
impressive,
doing
man.
it. Yeah, nobody realizes. I don't think, which that's fine. But yeah, I think it's. I think I'm a bit of a unicorn in the industry because of my size and stature. So yeah, a little unique there.
That's cool. Cool.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Okay. Last question.
Okay.
What is the secret? What is the Andy Messner secret? Nobody knows about you, and we are dropping it right here on the Sledder Cast podcast. What is it?
There's there's probably one other person that knows this would be Curtis because he's one of my best buddies, but I was actually a golf pro probably 15 years ago. So I worked in golf courses my life, was a pretty good golfer, not great, or I'd be on the PGA right now not talking to you, but I was a good golfer. I became a member of the BC Golf Teachers Federation. I would give lessons and I wanted to try and make an income in golf, but to be honest, snowmobiling was funner. So I went that route instead. Didn't pay as well though.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna dislocate a hip and
Broken pelvis.
broken
Yeah.
pelvis. Yeah, duh. I don't think
Yeah,
you're gonna
but
be. It's gonna be pretty hard to do that on the golf course.
But do you know what? Golf is way harder on the body than you think when you're playing like 100, 150 rounds a year and swinging really hard. I had major back problems at that time in my life. I
Oh,
was having
true.
back spasms regularly. And like my back pain went away when I stopped golfing a couple times a week. So still hard on the body, just a little bit different
A little bit
type
different.
of hardness. So yeah, I'm a terrible golfer now though. I have to admit I had kids, got a real job, play like 10 times a year. So I'm sure anyone could kick my butt.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yep.
There we
So
go.
that's it, man. Yeah.
So we were once a golfer. Andy Messner, pretty dang
Bit of
good
a hacker
golfer.
now.
Yep. Okay, Andy, where should we go if we want to follow along with all your shenanigans? See, sending it big. See the redemption year of Andy Messner getting back out there on the snowmobile. Where can we go? Where are you at?
Yeah, so I'm Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Snapchat, I think too, at Andy Messner Snow. I'm also known as the Shredder Dad. You can search for that as well. It pops up because I'm a shredder and I'm a dad. So yeah, come follow me. I love hearing from people. I've done some podcasts. I've done other things in the past, and the response from everyone after is always awesome. And a huge part of this is making connections. So if you hear this, you want to chat, send me a message. I'd be love to share my story, and maybe we can ride one day.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, appreciate the time.
Yeah.
This evening, I know it's a little late, but hey, this was great. Great conversation.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Trevor. I appreciate it. It's been great. Been an awesome experience.
Okay. All right. Adios, everybody.
Cheers.